All right. Okay. We live, Lindy.
We are live. People are coming in to
Hello,
the info night.
everybody. Good evening. Greetings from I wish the beautiful dining hall deck, but it's actually just a photo. Lindy, what photo do you have for your background there?
Okay, this is the peninsula looking west to an almost happening sunset. Those are the famous swings down there, and right behind it, to not clearly be seen, is our waterfront.
Beautiful. Janine, when you got there, is that the dining hall?
Yes, it is.
Awesome. I can't wait for the trees to be green like that again. We're
And
almost there.
that's the dining hall from a year and a half ago. We've got the new wood, the new pathways all the way up there, and the deck. So it's a throwback, Janine.
Yeah.
Still
Well,
beautiful.
the dining hall has gotten a number of glow ups over the last couple years. We love to see it. All right. Okay. I think we're ready to get rolling, folks. Appreciate you being here. Super excited to share with you about traditional camp and a little bit about what the schedule is going to look like. We're going to kick off with just the Camp Echo squad that is here to guide you through a presentation tonight. My name is Amy Woodrow. I get the opportunity to work year round at Camp Echo and support our traditional camp programs and our food service programs and our clinic, and this summer our mesh team. So super excited to connect with all of you. I'm one of the folks you can reach out to after our presentation if you have any follow-up questions or if your camper has specific accommodations that you need. Happy to answer and help you prep for summer. Lindy, will you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Sure will. Hey, everybody. My name is Lindy Tracy. I use she, her pronouns. I feel like I already filled so many roles on this Echo team. I just spent the last 3 summers supporting our some of our programs like teens and trips specifically last summer. And this year, I'm transitioning to do more of our family camp programming and operations. So a lot of staff communication and staff hiring to make sure that the people that are working with our children are ready to roll. Um, and what else? And this you can't really see, but there is a little cabin, cute little cabin down there behind me is where I've spent the last 3 summers. Best seat in the house.
And my name is Janine Featherson. I'm the office specialist at camp and do a lot of background stuff, just preparing for camp, um, calling families about forms, making sure everything is prepared for the campers to go off to camp and return from camp.
Awesome. Thanks, y'all. Excited for those of you who are finally getting to put some faces to some email names that you received from Camp Echo. So let's go ahead and jump on in. We are talking about traditional camp. So this is historically, it's been known as some names as main camp if you were a camper yourself and this is your kiddo's first time at camp. But traditional camp is our program that we're talking about this evening. You got to meet some of us year-round crew, a little bit about the seasonal team that works with our camp counselors. Our cabin leaders are 18-year-old staff. Many of them have been campers themselves, have gone through our leadership programs and are now joining our seasonal staff team. A number of our staff are international and they are coming from many countries across the world. We're super excited to give campers the opportunity to know so many people. All of our staff take first aid, CPR. Our team that works down at the waterfront takes a lifeguard course, and we do monthly in-services for the staff, making sure that they are all ready to respond in any emergencies that come up at camp. And then our seasonal leadership is supported by a full-time team of directors that are there at camp as well to support them through the summer. All right, what are we going to talk about today? We are going to answer as many questions as possible, give you some background info, and then again, we can answer any questions at the end that are specific to your camper. We're going to talk about Camp Echo's goals, values, how we're prepping for camp, what the first day and the last day look like. So what check-in and check-out look like, a high-level overview of the daily schedule, an overview of some of the activities that you're going to get to do while you're at camp, answer some questions. An important point of reference, all the info we're going to go over today is in our youth camp handbook, which is posted on our website. It's in your forms in Camp in Touch, so no need to memorize everything we're going to share today. You've got it in writing and can reference it at any time. Okay, before we get going, we're going to touch on a couple words from the Camp Echo Dictionary. And if at any point I say a camp word that you are wondering what it means, send it in the Q&A. Lindy is monitoring that and can answer any questions. Before we get started, a couple vocabulary words for you to know about Camp Echo. We have the DHP, which is the dining hall porch. We have Kaibo, which we are calling our bathhouses. We have Birches, which is a program for our older teen campers. The Hill, the Valley, the East Side, and the West Side are all neighborhoods of camper cabins. And we've got Saska, which is one of my favorite parts of the day, which is rest hour. Again, if we say any words that you're not sure what they mean, toss them in the chat and we are happy to answer them. Camp's goals for this summer: safety, community, personal growth, and have fun. We want to make sure that our programming is safe first and foremost for our staff, for our campers, emotionally and physically. We start our season with a week and a half of staff training where we're training our staff on policies, procedures, how to respond in emergencies, how to build relationships with the campers, so how we're building community. And then camp is all about personal growth, going a little outside our comfort zone, trying new activities, making new friends. For some campers, maybe staying away from home for the first time. So personal growth, and through all of that, we all have fun. Fun is the tool that we use to grow personally and grow in our confidence in our community while we're at camp. The values that camp focuses on: caring, respect, responsibility, honesty, and you guessed it again, have fun. These are the core values that we hope every camper gets to practice while they're at camp and leaves camp feeling a little more confident in those core values. Couple photos over here on the right side of this slide. This is our core value nomination box. So every day campers are encouraged to recognize a core value in their cabin mates or in their counselors, and they can nominate their fellow campers or counselors for a core value, and that core value nomination gets read at a meal and gets shared with all of camp. And then the photo below that is one of our cabin contracts. So with all of camp, we share expectations at the start of the session. So the way we're going to show up, the way we're going to be respectful and kind and caring to our fellow campers. And then within each cabin, they come up with their own cabin contract of how they're going to show up and how they're going to work together. So campers, you get to be a part of building the culture of your cabin while you're at camp and helping hold yourself to those standards that your whole group has decided on. All right, a little bit about the sessions at camp. Some of our campers who are registered for traditional camp will come to camp for a 2-week session, and some will come for a 1-week session. So if you're in an A session or a B session, those are the single week sessions. If you're in a number only session, no letter attached to it, you're in a 2-week session. Very similar experiences. Our 2-week campers do have some Saturday programming known as the Olympics, which we'll touch on. But the overview of the schedule that we'll go over is very similar for the 1-week and the 2-week sessions. One note, if your camper is coming on a single week of camp, the busing on Saturday at the McGaw YMCA is a flip-flop. So the campers that are at camp for the A session ride the bus down to McGaw. There are campers leaving, there are campers arriving, and then the B campers get on those same buses and go up to camp. So just so you know, when you're at McGaw Y checking in your kiddos for camp, you're either going to wonder where all these kids going or where they're coming from, and everybody's either going or coming from camp. Awesome. A little bit more about that preparation to camp. There are pre-session medication check-in. So we're asking all of our parents to check in medications before your camper comes to camp. These check-ins happen at the Y. You'll get emails confirming what time and what date exactly are available for your camper checking in. One very important part of medication check-in for all medications, whether they are over the counter or whether they are prescription, every medication needs to be checked in its original packaging. Campers can keep like over the counter stuff with them, but all medications that are again over the counter or a prescription get turned into our clinic and they're stored in our clinic. We'll talk a little bit more about medication procedures in a few, but one key piece is making sure that all medications are brought to camp in the original package with a label. When you are checking in for buses, bus loading on Sunday, Sunday morning starts at 8:30 a.m. at the Y. I've never been at the bus loading. I've always been at camp waiting for the kids to get there. If your campers are arriving to camp for 1B or 2B, bus loading starts at 12:30. If you are bringing your camper to camp, you'll arrive to camp around 2 p.m. for those Saturday or Sunday check-ins, and those Saturday B session check-ins, you would arrive to camp around 6 p.m. All right, now we're into the good stuff. What does the first day of camp look like? When you get to camp, you ride your bus all the way to camp. You get off the bus and it's like the camp staff Super Bowl. They are so excited to meet you. You'll come over to our basketball court where this group of campers is here in the photo. You'll get your name called. You'll get united with your fellow cabin mates and your counselor, and then you'll head to your cabin. You'll get moved in. You'll start getting to know your counselors, get to know your group. We'll do a tour of camp, and we'll create that cabin contract, so that core value cabin contract on that first day of camp. A little bit about the cabins that you'll be living in. So that photo on the right side is the Camp Echo Peninsula. And then if you look really close on the screen, you can see the cabin names, and those light yellow buildings are the cabins, or maybe orangey, depends on your computer screen that you're looking at. But our camper cabins for traditional camp have 10 campers and 2 counselors. Your cabin will have campers that are within 1 to 2 grades of what grade you're going into the following summer. And then the 2 counselors live in the cabin. You'll have at least 1 cabin of the same gender identity of the full cabin group. And then right nearby those camper cabins are what we call the kaibos. If you remember, that's what our bathhouses are. So those are individual shower stalls, individual toilet stalls, but a very short walk from your cabin. One additional note, in the cabins, we also have changing tents. So our encouragement for everyone to have privacy is that changing happens in the changing tents or in the individual stalls in the bathroom. All right, after you get settled in your cabin on that first day, we have a bunch of tasks to complete. One of those tasks being our health check-in and our swim evaluation. So once you get your items in your cabin, you'll get in your swimsuit, and then you'll head down to the beautiful waterfront and do your swim evaluation. Swim evaluation just tells us your swim level. It tells us what areas you're going to need extra support in. Tells us if swim lessons might be a good camptivity for you to join so you can grow in that skill while you're at camp. The swim evaluation for the blue level, which means that you can swim out there by the floating barge, is 6 lengths of that swim section, and then treading for 1 minute, and then treading and floating for the additional 9 minutes. The level, is that correct, Lindy? That okay, thank you. And then the level below that is the white section, white level of the swimming, and that would be 4 lengths of the swim section. One thing to keep in mind is swimming in a lake is different than swimming in a pool. It's good to practice your swim eval in a pool if you can, but understand that like some days on camp check-in, the lake can be pretty choppy from other boats going around. The water can be chilly. So if you do your swim evaluation that first day and you're maybe not happy with it, you can talk to one of the adults about finding another time to maybe redo your swim check. If you take swim lessons, that's an opportunity, but just know the lake is often a surprise for some people. So it's okay if that is a new experience for you. And then for your health check-in at the clinic, we will do lice checks. That's something that we do just to make sure everyone is safe and healthy at camp. And that means someone's going to look through your hair with a comb. It's usually pretty quick. And then the healthcare staff will talk to you about your medications and what time of day you come to the clinic to get your medication. So that's typically around mealtime. So before breakfast, before lunch, before dinner, and then at bedtime. If you have a different time of day that you take a medication, the clinic staff will confirm that with you as well. And you'll get to see the porch and meet the clinic staff during that tour and that healthcare check-in. Lindy, any other ads on swim checks or health checks?
I'm so happy you asked. I had a couple thoughts.
Yeah.
For swim evaluations, campers are allowed to wear goggles and a swim cap if they choose. For the swimming portion, then they're gonna hop out of the water. For the treading portion, we're gonna ask them to not have goggles on. We like to be able to make eye contact and see that your camper's doing all right while they're treading water. And they're gonna jump in and submerge, come up, and then do the treading and floating. That's just a little detail. And then for the health check, including just making sure that you don't have any little crawlers in your hair. Feel free, braids are great. Whatever hairstyle you come in is fine. If it's easy to take out and your camper's okay with that, as long as we can see the scalp, awesome. And if you're in braids or in a protective hairstyle, we do not take that out. If we can see the scalp, that's totally great. So don't stress about that too much.
Great, thank you. Feel free to chime in if there's any other additional notes. I appreciate it. All right, and then after we, okay, there we go. After we do our health check and our swim check, all the while getting to meet our cabin mates, then we will head to the dining hall for dinner. Food is a big important part of camp. We do serve pretty camper friendly meals. So we're doing chicken tenders and mac and cheese. We're doing pesto pasta and breadsticks, breakfast burritos, waffles and sausage. Depends on what time of day it is, but pretty camper friendly foods. Campers will sit with their cabin groups either in the dining hall or out on the dining hall deck. The way we divided it last year was campers that were younger in age were in the dining hall. Campers that were older were out on the deck. We'll probably do it again that way this summer, but there's lots of space now that we have that beautiful new deck on the dining hall. Like I said, campers sit with their cabin, which means their counselors are there helping to make sure that they're getting enough to eat, that they have some options if they don't love what we have for dinner, if it's just not their favorite. We have a Wow Butter and jelly bar at every meal in the morning. During breakfast time, we have cereal, we have oatmeal. So we always have options and want to make sure that the campers are fed because we are busy at camp. So we got to stay fueled up. And at lunch, we also have a salad bar available as an additional option too. If your camper does have dietary accommodations that they need, you'll just list that on their health information form in their forms in CampMinder. That info goes to our food service team and they'll make an alternative if your child has an allergy with the allergy excluded. If your child is peanut or tree nut free, we don't have any products in the kitchen that have peanuts or tree nuts, but we can also accommodate your child's dietary restrictions. If you have any additional questions specifically, please reach out to me. I'm happy to talk through and make sure your kiddo is prepared for camp and you're confident in that they'll be fed so that they can do all the camp activities that we are asking them to do and offering to them. And then at lunchtime, there's dessert, often an ice cream sandwich, sometimes a popsicle, a very, very exciting part of the day. All right. And then after we've had our first dinner, we're going to head to opening campfire. We are going to sing some silly songs. We're going to do some skits. We're going to meet some more of the staff we get to work with during the week. And that's all just day one. Day two, the rest of the week, a typical morning. We're going to go over a typical morning and a typical afternoon. You're going to rise and shine in the morning. You're going to head to the bathhouses, get your teeth brushed, get your hair brushed, put on your clean outfit, and then we are going to head out to start our day. All of camp will gather at the flagpole in the morning, which is in the central area of the peninsula. The bell is how we communicate it's time to transition or an activity is done at camp. So you always want to be listening for the bell. Our action-packed mornings include a morning reflection. So we're going to start our day focusing on a core value. Maybe a staff member will share a story that highlights a core value and maybe highlight a way that they saw that core value at camp. We'll head into the dining hall and have breakfast. After breakfast, you'll head back to your cabin. Make sure your bunk is made. Make sure your area is tidy because we do clean cabin checks. So you want to make sure that your area is neat. And then after you tidy up your cabin, you're going to prepare for your camp activities. Our campers get to do 3 camp activities, and those camp activities are consistent throughout the week for 4 to 5 days. Campers will sign up for them on Sunday as part of their rotations, as part of that first day. You will rank out of a list of around 14 camp activities, and those are camp areas that include archery, water skiing, arts and crafts, wilderness survival. Lindy, what are some more of our camp activities that campers can choose from?
You say all the core camp activities. I'm just going down the peninsula, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Challenge course, which is like our bouldering wall and some like team building, horses, archery. You said arts and crafts. Some of our like second level fun ones, not just like the core ones, but like drama, dance.
Nature.
Yeah, and then
Awesome.
sometimes our counselors come up with really creative, fun camp activities, like Taylor Swift camp activity. Was a
Yeah,
very
it depends
popular one in
on
recent years.
yeah, that one's been popular. And with captivity, so you will rank the activities. So you may get some that are like newer captivities for you. We plug them into a computer system, and then you'll get a schedule of your 3 captivities. So you might get like your first choice, your 5th choice, and your 6th choice. You might get your 2nd choice, your 3rd choice, and your 5th choice. So if you're at camp for 2 weeks, you get new captivities the 2nd week. So lots of different times when you get to do activities at camp. We'll talk about it in the afternoon chunk of the schedule, that even if you're not in a captivity, you still have an opportunity during our free choice time to do basically every activity at camp. It's available at some point to you during your session. And then after we do those 3 captivities, we'll head to lunch. Here's a few more photos of our happenings at camp. So this is where we'll do morning reflection, another photo of the dining hall, and one of our shared responsibilities of setting our cabin tables in the morning. And then some activity photos. So this cabin is working hard to make sure they win that clean cabin. Some of our campers out on the lake, and then some crafts happening in the arts and crafts shack. A typical afternoon, because we're only halfway through the day at this point. We'll have lunch, and then we have Sweet Saska, which is our rest hour. Campers are in their bunks, either taking a nap or doing a very quiet activity like responding to a letter from home, writing a letter to home, working on a friendship bracelet, reading a book. If you like napping and your body needs a nap because the camp days are busy, you're welcome to take a sleep. If you're somebody that you don't think you'll nap, bring a book that you'd like to read during that time, because it is a quiet, restful time of the day. After that rest hour, cabins will do a service task, which means that you'll have an area of camp that your cabin is responsible for helping keep nice. So if your cabin is responsible for the swimming area, it might be that you're just doing a quick stop by that area to make sure the sticks are all out of the way, that the sand is nice, that the sand toys are put away nicely. So it's just another way that we contribute to that community responsibility in all of our areas of camp. After we do our service task, we'll do a cabin group. So with your cabin, you can possibly do team building. You could do a beach party, any of the program areas at camp, or one of those fun creative activities that Lindy mentioned, like maybe going on a fairy hunt or, looking for Bigfoot, Just depends on what your cabin group is really excited about. After cabin group, we'll have a snack, and then we have a time period called Fun Swim, which is a free choice time during the day. That is where there are multiple activity areas open. So our water areas are open, sailing, skiing, paddle sports, the barn is open. Staff are stationed at locations and campers can float around and choose what activity area they'd like to spend time in. You could go to the craft shack and make a friendship bracelet. You could go to the basketball court and shoot some hoops. Just kind of depends on the plan that you make for each day. After we do Fun Swim, we head to flag lowering and cabin time, where you'll unpack your day pack from the morning and the busy afternoon, and you'll get ready for evening program. So cabin time, dinner, and then evening program is our all camp activity. Sometimes that's a tag game. Sometimes that is a camp counselor pageant where you get to dress up your counselor and they strut on the runway. And there are awards at the end of it. And it's a big community time for the full camp community to come together. And then we'll do Twilight Fun, which is another cabin group period in the day. That's a little more of a low key time as we start transitioning to get ready for evening routine and for lights out. So that might be like one more round of Gaga or 9 Square or carpet ball, maybe a reading party while you're getting ready, but a little more low key as we start getting ready for the evening after a very busy camp day. Some photos down at the waterfront, photos of our sailboats. One really exciting highlight for this summer is due to generous donors, we have a full new fleet of sailboats for this summer, which we're really excited to and grateful for the folks that made that happen. Just a list of camp activities that you might be able to do while you're at camp. It may not be possible to do every single activity during your week or two at camp, but some of the activities that are offered: archery, arts and crafts, biking, team challenge, dance, drama, fishing. I can't believe I didn't mention fishing. Got a beautiful new fishing dock for this summer. Nature, paddle sports, which has canoes, kayaks, paddle boards, sports, soccer, basketball. We got all the sports. Swimming, team elements, tubing, water skiing. And then horseback riding is our only activity that has an additional fee and that requires pre-registration. You can sign up for horseback riding once all your other camper forms are complete. That report gets run once a week. So if you finish all your camper forms on a Monday, we don't run the report until Friday. So if you finish all your camper forms and you're waiting and excited to sign up for horseback riding, give us until that Friday to run the report, and then we'll give you access to the form in your Camp in Touch. Does that sound right, Janine, for how we're... Okay, great. Awesome. All right, what else is happening at Camp Echo? The famous Camp Echo Trading Post. That's where you can get your Camp Echo swag. You can get t-shirts, sun shirts, hats, stuffies, PJ pants, water bottles. That's also where you can get a candy or an ice cream treat once a day. Lots of cool options down at the Camp Echo Trading Post. We do have an online trading post as well if you want to get your swag before you come to camp. Check it out on our website, and then visit the lovingly called TP when you're at camp this summer. All right, overnights and undernights are a part of the traditional camp experience. Some of you may be wondering, what is an undernight? Because that's a word we made up at camp. The undernight and overnight experience is a part of our session, and campers have the opportunity to go on to a different site on our property. So Camp Echo is 600 acres. We have a number of different sites where campers can cook over a fire and they'll camp out. Some of our overnight and undernight locations have structures, like in this photo. Inside the structures, sometimes where campers will sleep. Other sites, campers bring tents to them to sleep in. S'mores, that's s'mores, cabin bonding. The famous Camp Echo sizzle burgers are cooked over the fire, and you can look at the stars. Sometimes we'll play tag games when we're out there, but The division is that typically our campers that are in 3rd through 5th grade will do an under night. So it's basically everything but the sleepover. So they hike out to the site, do the cooking, play the games, and then when it's getting close to bedtime, they'll head back to camp and sleep in their cabins. Typically, our 6th through 8th graders do the overnight, so either sleeping in the shelter or sleeping in the tents, depending on what overnight site they are at. One other special activity, if your camper is coming for 2 weeks, this session is our weekend programming called the Olympics, where your child receives their team t-shirt and they are divided into different groups for some friendly camp competition and some silly activities, such as I see here a dunk contest, a 3-legged race. There's also something known as a cheer off, which you can hear far and wide across camp when it comes to the cheer off for the Olympics. And then, Lindy, will you give a highlight of Trailblazers real quick, just as a future program for traditional campers who are interested in moving towards the trip program as they get a little older?
Would love to. If you are listening to this and you're like, this is perfect for my kid and I can't wait for them to venture away from camp to do more nature exploring, Trailblazers might be the pathway for them. So Trailblazers are for rising 7th through 9th graders. There's Trailblazers 1 and 2. And this is, we'll call it a mini adventure trip. So they'll spend, of their 2-week session, it is a 2-week program, they'll spend a week of that on camp, participating in many traditional camp activities and doing some of those camptivities and have an opportunity to participate in the daily structure of camp, while also spending some time preparing for the following week, which is an off-site adventure trip. So they might be doing some paddling on the Manistee River, or they might be doing some backpacking. Trailblazers 1 and 2 is going to hopefully north, but South Manitou, north again eventually. They've been having some construction with their ferry route for a while. And then Trailblazers 2 goes farther up into the Upper Peninsula of Michigan to the beautiful Pictured Rocks. So an introduction to adventure tripping that we make really accessible to any kid who might say, maybe getting to the backcountry is for me and I want to try it out.
Thanks, Lindy. Yeah, Camp Echo has a lot of programs, and it can grow with your camper in a lot of ways with different activities we offer, and then those opportunities to venture out into trips is that if that is something your child is interested in. Again, and have fun. We do a bunch of goofing when we're at camp. We do a lot of skill development, a lot of character development. But we are also having fun, like Wacky Wednesdays. If you have a funny outfit that you want to pack and bring to camp, please do. You got a funny hat or a costume that you loved at Halloween and you want to bring it for camp, put it in the suitcase or the duffel bag. We start every day with morning music where our camp staff DJ 3 songs, 4 songs if we're lucky, and get us hyped for the day of camp ahead of us. If you have a birthday at Camp Echo, we do a little celebrating. Families, if your kiddo has a birthday at camp and you've got any special traditions you would love for us to carry on while your kiddo's at camp, let us know. We want to make sure that that's special. We've got special celebration days sprinkled all through summer and so much more happening throughout camp. All right, and then we're going to go through a few more slides of just camp prep and some hot tips. And again, remember, all this is in that youth camp handbook. When you are filling out your camper forms, it can be really helpful to fill it out with your child just so they know and can help contribute to the information that's getting shared with camp. The more that we know about your kiddo and the more that we know about you, if you're a camper listening tonight, the better we can help support you, right? Like if there are supports that happen at school that would be helpful for us to have or to know about at camp, please let us know. We want to make sure that this is a successful and fun week. So let us know what we can do to help. Start talking about camp. Talk about when you miss home, because it's inevitable. At least once you might miss home a little bit. The food's a little different. The beds are different. Super fun. You're making new friends, but it's all right to miss home. Start thinking about some strategies of how you'll deal with that. It might be just writing a letter home. It might be going for a walk. It might be using that Saska to take a nap. Everybody's got different things that make them feel better. It might be talking to your counselors about it and helping them understand that you're feeling a little sad, and they can help you get engaged with camp and feel better. One way to practice for camp is just scheduling those sleepovers with friends or relatives, parents. When the buses are rolling out, make sure you look happy, maybe not too happy, but make sure we're leaving a positive impression for the bus departure. And then one thing that is super important, we would love for parents and campers and home and campers to talk about what the plan is for camper email. So there's a part of Camp in Touch where you can send your camper emails and you can send them reply sheets. Campers, make sure you're listening. If your parents say they would like a letter each day, write that letter each day so they know that they're hearing from you. They know that you're having a good time. So make that plan of how you're gonna communicate with home while you're at home. Packing for camp, one of the single most important pieces of information is label, label, label. Put your name on everything. Put your name on water bottles, on keychains, on hairbrushes, on socks if you want them to come home. You can put it on your shoe. The more you label, the more likely it is to make it home with you. Make sure that we're packing together for camp so that we recognize what towel belongs to us and what are any supplies that we got for camp, what they look like, so they can come home with us. A day pack is a really important piece of equipment for campers so that in the morning when they're prepping for those camptivities, if I have a water camptivity first, I'm wearing my bathing suit, but if I have a sports activity second and I need my closed-toed shoes, I'm going to have those in my bag. So sending some kind of backpack with your kiddo is really helpful. Sun protection, so important. Sun shirts, sunscreen, hats. We spend a lot of time outside at camp, but we want to make sure we're protected from the sun. Pack that wacky gear. And one more time, don't forget to label your bag that all the items that you've labeled are in. Things to leave at home. No camper should bring money to camp. Trading post accounts are set up through Camp in Touch. And our staff can't add like cash payments into Camp in Touch. To leave money at home. Camp Echo is screen free. So cell phones, smartwatches, games, tablets, all of that needs to stay at home. The camp staff, like the full-time team that at camp has phones. We have an office phone. We're very reachable at camp, but expectation is that campers do not have their screens. Nothing that is illegal to have and nothing that is a weapon or resembles a weapon. So maybe when you go to camp with your scout troop, you bring a pocket knife. At Camp Echo, we're asking you not to bring a pocket knife. We've got any supplies at camp that we need. And then one more note on medications, just to help clarify the importance of how we are able to accept and administer medications. Please ensure that when you fill out your health history form, all the medications are listed on the health history form and all the information matches the labels for the medication that your child takes, whether it's over the counter or a prescription. Again, all medications in that original container, we cannot accept them if they are packed in like pill sorters. They have to be in original packaging. EpiPens and inhalers are ones that are tricky because that prescription label is on the box. And what do we do when we take the epi or the inhaler out? We toss the box. So make sure from your pharmacy you get a prescription label that can come to camp with that EpiPen or inhaler if your child has one. And then please do not send over-the-counter medications that are not like part of your child's health, like daily health. We have anything that comes up as needed. We have Pepto for tummy aches. We have ibuprofen and Tylenol for headaches. We have all sorts of stuff. No need for you to send like things that are not a part of your health regimen. And again, we do ask that those are getting turned in. Again, you'll get emails saying like what time and what day early med check-in is, but we're hoping to get the meds to camp earlier so that we can have more time to sort them and just make sure that we are ready for your camper. And early medication check-in helps our clinic team just be more prepared for your camper. And then some final closing thoughts. Campers, when you are at camp, there are so many helpers there. So there's a lot of different people who have different jobs at camp. Your counselors are in your cabin with you. Their main job is to make sure that you are safe and happy and having a good time. Counselors can help you. Unit leaders can help you. We can help you understand instructions, understand the schedule. If you're feeling lonely, if you're feeling confused, if you're feeling super excited and you need to tell somebody about it, you can share if you have any concerns, like if someone's not following the cabin expectations, if you're not sure what activity to choose during Fun Swim. Your counselors will also do spirit, mind, and body check-ins with you. Make sure you're doing good, having fun. And then in addition to your counselors, there are unit leaders who help support the counselors. There's our clinic team. There is our mental, emotional, and social health team. The directors are there. There are lots of helpers. So if you are ever at camp and you are not sure what's next or you need support with something, ask one of the adults there. We are all there to help you and make sure that your camp experience is really positive. Rounding out the last couple slides. After camp, you're going to get some surveys. Let us know what was awesome. Let us know how we could do better. If you get home and something is missing, there's a form you'll be able to fill out, and we will do our best to try to track down the lost item. But campers, make sure you're flexing that responsibility muscle when you're at camp and keeping track of your items and knowing where things are. If you make a friend at camp, you can get their contact info while you are there, but camp won't share personal info without permission. If we can help establish a connection, we'll always check in with families before we share any information. And then make sure you talk with your camper about appropriate out of camp contact is for your camper. Last couple things, again, more info. We've got a YouTube channel that's got videos of like the swim check, of a cabin tour. Some of those might be getting a little on the older side. That might be on our to-do list this summer just to update some of those videos, but great information. We've got the youth handbook on the website. The website's got a bunch of info, and then in your Camp in Touch portal, that's where you'll find your forms to fill out. That's where there are places and people that you need to contact. So feel free to log back into that Camp in Touch forum. That's where a lot of information lives. And then you can always reach out to us. We want to make sure that your camper session at camp is successful. So that Echo info email gets directed to whoever can help the best. So if you have kitchen questions, housing questions, cabin mate request questions, reach out. We will answer anything we can. And if we don't have the question answer, or we don't have the answer right away, we will find it for you. All right. Lindy, any questions from the chat that would be helpful for us to answer in the whole group or anything?
Right now, I see that I'm the only person that has put questions here.
Okay.
So I am wondering if people have questions out there, if you can throw them in the chat. I'm hoping you're able to do that.
Yeah.
Let's see.
There's a couple in the Q&A. Let me
see.
stop sharing. All right. Are you all just seeing our faces again?
They can't talk to you, but I'm seeing just our faces.
Oh, thanks everybody. Okay, a couple questions. Are Nook book readers allowed at camp? Our preference would be for you to have your kiddo bring a couple hard copy books. So we're asking no screens at camp. So that would be our preference. And then do we put money into the account to use the trading post? So all camper registrations include $65 for the Camp Echo trading post. You can add additional funds if your kiddo needs some additional swag, but everybody has $65 for shopping in the trading post. And then how old for overnight? So typically our breakdown has been 3rd through 5th graders do the undernight. Sometimes our cabins have 5th and 6th graders in them. So we'll determine with the cabin, with their counselors, what the plan would be. But typically 5th-ish, 6th grade and up will do the overnight. And then how do campers purchase items at the camp store? That's a great clarifying question. So our trading post will be open for their cabin to come to visit, and then it's open during Fun Swim for them to visit. They'll head to the trading post and they will decide what they want. And then we have a system that you can actually look in Camp in Touch and see what your child has bought at the camp store, so that you know if they're buying the sweatshirt you asked them to buy, or if they found something else that they were really excited about. So Yeah, they go to the camp store as a cabin, and then it's also open during that choice time. Great questions. Dinner is at 6:15. It's 6:15, right? 6:15 each day. Our meal times are consistent, but they are in the Eastern time zone. So those first couple days, there's a little bit of an adjustment from Central Time if your kiddo's from Illinois. But yeah, 8:30, 1 o'clock, and 6:15 are our meal times each day. And then there's a snack somewhere in the afternoon as well.
And if your kid is always hungry, they're hungry all the time, there are snacks available in the dining hall. So as you're walking by, if your camper just communicates with their counselor, their adult staff member, we can make sure your kid is fed. It's important that they are not going hungry.
Definitely. Do you have to go swimming? Swimming is not required. It's definitely an option. If your camper is a non-swimmer, life jackets are available, all the water areas, whether the swim section or any of the paddle sports areas. But no, we not required. If the cabin group does go like to the waterfront for a beach party, there's always a secondary option, even if it is just reading a book, if swimming is not your thing, or in a different area is not your thing, right? We all have different comfort levels and different things that we're excited about trying. Are overnights required for 7th graders? If the cabin is doing an overnight, we'll strongly encourage the whole cabin to participate in the overnight. If there's any particular like worry or concern or anything, if that was your question, I would be happy to have a follow-up with you to help answer any questions or ease any apprehensions, right? The overnights are a big step, and totally understandable if there are apprehensions or like a specific need that I can answer a question about. Oh, great question. When we send an e-letter, do we receive their, it's jumping around, their response is an email? Yes, so your camper will handwrite their response, and then we put it through a scanner, and it's got a barcode at the top, and it comes, it's as a digital reply. And we get those done each day, depending on when your camper gets their letter into the outgoing mailbox, but we'll show them the outgoing mailbox on their tour on that first day of camp. And then funds for the trading post, everybody gets that $65. But if there are any additional amounts you want to add, parents, you can log right in and you can add additional funds to their account. Great. And these are great questions, folks. Thanks so much. If you don't know how to float for 9 minutes or more, so I didn't mention there are 3 levels to swimming. So there is the blue level, the white level, and the red level. Red levels are for folks who are still learning to tread and float and still growing in their swimming skill. Can participate in most things. We'll need to wear a life jacket, which in all of our boating of any kind areas, everyone's wearing a life jacket already. But at the waterfront, that means they can swim in the section that is designated as red that everyone can stand in, that non-swimmers can be in without a life jacket. But if they're interested in being in another section, they can wear a life jacket. Laundry during the week. So we don't offer laundry services for campers during the week of camp unless they are doing a multi-session stay at camp. So if they are doing a stayover, we do their laundry during that stayover weekend. Otherwise, we do ask that you pack enough for your child for the duration of their stay at camp, in the case that your kiddo burns through all their clothes in the first couple of days of camp. Their camp counselors will let a director or unit leader know, and we'll get things washed for your kids. Talk to them about the plan for clothes when you're prepping for camp, but definitely plan for enough clothes for camp. But in the case of emergency or in the case of an accident or something like that, we have laundry at camp and have that available to make sure your kiddo is cared for.
And if you are have signed up your camper for a stayover experience where they're staying for multiple sessions, that is the time where we will gather your camper's laundry and individual laundry bags. We get them cleaned at a laundry service in town and back to your camper before the start of the next session. So that's the only time we are going to take your child's clothing other than the things they need for the 2 days. do their laundry and bring it back, barring extra needs. Yeah.
Perfect. Ooh, Lindy, what would you say is the nighttime ambient noise at camp? Is it the lake? Is it the crickets? Is it the frogs?
This is the coolest question I've ever had in a
So
webinar.
fun.
And I'm gonna answer, it depends on when you're coming in the summer. So we did have cicadas last year, like earlier in the season, and we have frogs earlier in the season. As you get later in the season, and things quiet down, mating season nature-wise, you can often hear our resident loons on the lake at night, which is magical. It's very still. You might hear a little bit of like breeze and then the loon sound. So magical. Thanks for that question. Ooh.
Yeah, that's fun. If campers lose anything, what's the best way to replace it? There's a couple options. So if campers lose something at camp, you can fill out our lost and found form after they get home. If the question is maybe if they lose something during camp, like they've lost their hairbrush or they've lost a shoe, they let their camp counselor know. Something like a hairbrush or shampoo or toothpaste we have extras of in our clinic, and they would just ask their counselor and we can give it to them. If it's something that we might need support from home, we might shoot home an email and say, we actually are going to run to Walmart and get your kiddo a new pair of sneakers because they lost a shoe. Hopefully we would find it. We do have a lost and found system at camp that if a lone shoe was found, every camper knows to bring it to the lost and found. But we can provide a lot of things that get forgotten. Otherwise, if it's like a bigger purchase, we'll reach out to home. Because sometimes campers get to camp and they say, oh, I don't have a swimsuit, but it's in the front pocket of their backpack, where you certainly showed them a couple times and they just need one more reminder. Typical lake water temp. I'm not sure. It's a little chilly.
One funny story, one time I was so convinced that I could touch the water, because I used to be a swimmer, touch the water and tell you what the temperature was within 2 degrees. I was within 4 degrees.
Oh,
so
nice.
we'll be all right. It will be all right. Beginning of the summer, like closer to Memorial Day in the first session, water's probably like 79 to 82. So a common like competitive pool temperature. As we get later in the summer, it's 85 to 88. It's way, it gets warmer and more comfortable, but a lot of your campers think that 79 is just fine. And we do a little mental or math mapping to make sure that the index of the air temperature and the water temperature is always warm enough to keep your camper safe, even if your camper's like, it's fine if it's 45 degrees outside. We might differ that depending on the water temperature, but yeah.
Yeah. Great. That's fun to know. Question about taking the swimming evaluation at the Y or during camp. If your camper is participating in like the swim lesson prep that's getting offered at the Y, or doing a swim check trial run at the Y, every person still takes it when they arrive to camp. Because the lake is a very different environment. It's even longer than a pool length is. So even if your child can do the swim chat, do the swim eval at the Y, everybody still takes it when they get to camp. So we can make sure that they can meet that swimming requirement in the environment. Is golf a part of the sports activities? I said we had all the sports, and you found one we do not have. So no golf at camp. I've seen some disc golf. Yeah, we got disc golf. And then, is there a phone that belongs to camp so that kids can call their parents? Great question. A little bit about calling home. We do encourage communication to be through the letters. In the case that there is an emergency or a camper really needs to talk to home, we'll help facilitate that. Or if a parent really needs to talk to their child or like needs to communicate something directly to their child, give us a call. There's a group of us that are always at camp that can get you connected to your kiddo in case of an emergency. But we don't do like daily phone calls home for kiddos, but it's more of a situation by situation. But if that was your question and you have specific concerns or anything that I can help explain, again, please reach out to us. Can they bring an MP3 player without a screen? Yes, if it isn't going to be distracting from their camp experience. So as long as they know, like, this is my bedtime music player, it doesn't have a screen. There are outlets in every cabin. They could charge it there. And then cabins have fans in them. Many of our cabins have attic fans, and the floors help keep the cabin cool. So they're pretty well temperature regulated. If your camper does run really hot, you can bring they can bring a fan, but we've got box fans in the cabins. If a camper has to go to the bathroom after bedtime, is there a buddy system? We work really hard to use what we call the Tready system at camp. So we follow what we call the rule of three, which is an adult and 2 campers at a minimum. If your camper does need to use the restroom after bedtime, after we've done like the everybody trip to the bathroom, they'll need to wake up one of the adults in their cabin and then another camper, and they'll go to the bathhouse. If it's raining out, we got a whole bunch of stuff we can do if it's raining out. We're lucky that we've got like a pretty decent amount of indoor space at camp. But in the case that it's raining, that's when we shift to some all camp indoor activities, which are sometimes fashion shows, Dutch auctions, where we create fun, creative games and activities. So we keep the campers busy if it's raining. And for the most part, our typical summer storms, they pour out and then they're gone, and we're back in action, back outside in the humidity. But yeah, we keep everybody busy if it's raining. If the camper is a member of the swim team, they'll take their swim evaluation, and they'll get to show us their stroke skills they're developing on the swim team. Are there snakes at camp? You know, last summer was my first summer. I don't think I saw one. Last year I did see some turtles. I saw a snapping turtle once, but she was there trying to find a spot to lay her eggs, heard all those kids, and she was like, not here. Yeah, so no, not a whole lot of wildlife where the kids are. I think if I was an animal and I heard the morning music coming from the dining hall, I would think this is not my spot.
And if the only snakes I can think of are the really harmless garter snakes. I think we've seen a couple of those. We do have, again, like non-poisonous, very scared of humans, like water snakes, but they very quickly in the season realize, oh, there are people getting in and out of the water at this space, and I'm not going to be here. So we haven't had, since my time, haven't had any scary incidents with snakes, and no poisonous snakes to be heard of.
Yeah. This is so fun. These are great questions, everybody. Are all the cabins exactly the same? What if it's cold? Great question. The cabins are pretty similar. Like all of the traditional camper cabins are pretty similar with those 10 cabins and then the 2 counselor cubbies. In the case that it's cold, you know, if you check the forecast and you're packing for camp, it's always okay to send an extra blanket. And then our cabins have they're electric fireplaces in them that help take the chill out of the space. So we have, typically when it's hot out, those are just used for ambience and they look nice. But when it's chilly out, there's like a heating option on the fireplaces. Definitely if the forecast calls for cold, like make sure they've got their warm jammies and bedding that's gonna keep them cozy. When do the buses return for session 2? So for that end of session 2, great question. So the buses return to the Magawai on July 3rd, which is the Thursday. And what time did the buses get back to? Sorry.
Yeah, they're usually back. We leave in time to beat rush hour is always the goal. So if we do that, they're home around 2 o'clock, 2 and 3 o'clock, barring any wild traffic down around the lake into Chicago. We're usually there before rush hour.
And that's on Thursday, July 3rd.
Yes.
That session ends.
The one weird end, yes.
Yeah, or one Thursday
So
end.
you all can celebrate the 4th of July together and not travel.
Yeah.
In a bus on the 4th of July.
Can your camper bring stuffies? That is a great question. Your camper should bring whatever is going to help them feel comfy in their camp bunk. Maybe not the most precious of all stuffies, but a favorite stuffy is a great addition to a camp bunk to make it cozy and cute. Great question. All right. Anything else right now, folks, that we can help with? All right, we got another one. Perfect. Do we recommend a rolling suitcase or a duffel? Are the kids carrying their bags to the cabins? Great question. The campground is sandy and maybe not super well suited for wheels. You can use whatever you have. If you have a suitcase or a duffel bag, whatever you have that is going to help campers organize their stuff will work. Duffel bags can be easier because we're not trying to roll them through the sandy ground, but no need to go out and purchase anything special. If you've got a duffel bag or a suitcase, either is good. The campers do carry their items to the cabins. For some of the groups, that's a couple of trips because between sleeping bags and pillows and duffel bags and suitcases, you've only got so much arm space to hold all your items. So totally okay if you are not a light packer. Definitely pack what your camper needs, but the kids will carry them to the cabin with support of the adults in their cabin. Well, there's always somebody there who can help grab an extra handle. Great question. Can the kids bring a stuffed animal? Yep. Bring your comfort items. Again, maybe not the single most important stuffy they've had since they were little babies, but a special stuffy that's going to help them sleep at night is an awesome addition to pack. And there's a fully detailed packing list in your Camp and Touch account. I know we went over just like a few things to bring, but there's a whole packing list in your Camp and Touch accounts. All right, peoples. Thank you so much for being here with us tonight. Again, my name's Amy. If you have any traditional camp questions, please reach out to me. I'll be at camp with your kiddos. Campers, if you're on here, I can't wait to meet you and can't wait to see you. Please reach out to camp with any questions. Janine, Lindy, Kristen, Bernard. We've got a whole squad of folks that are excited you're going to be at Echo this summer and want to make it a great experience. So please reach out with anything we can help with, and it is going to be summertime before we know it. All right. Bye, everybody. Thank you.
Thanks, everybody. Can't wait to have your kids at camp. Woo!